Aloha, everyone. Hope you're able to see us in here. Thank you so much for coming today to our session. I'm very excited to see some of familiar faces. Thank you and welcome. So for the people that doesn't know me, my name is Maria Mora, and I work in the admissions office with our international students at HPA. So I'll be happy to help you through the admissions process. So everything you need, just let us know. We're here to help you. So we're going to start our session today. Let's go over first some of the guidelines for Zoom. I know a lot of you already have used Zoom before, but first, if it's your first time, please don't forget to mute yourself during the session. We're going to try to leave questions for the end. And when you have a question, you can write it on the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question, okay? So hope you enjoy your session. So before we start, we're going to play a quick video, and then we'll go over with our panelists.
HPA hands you so many opportunities. They are giving you every single possibility to do anything you want. Any sport you could think of, you can do here. Any instrument, artistic piece, if you want to do theater, if you want to do drawing, go out and travel, if you want to shop and go to farmers markets and things like that, you can do that here. That is what HPA was built for. Everyone has a passion, whether that be take pictures, make movies, make music. If you just stop someone in the hallway and say, what do you want to do in life? Everyone at HBA can answer that.
I found that it was really, really fantastic that what I just learned in the physics classroom about ambient noise and about CO2, that I could really take my knowledge and then use it to make studies, and then it was actually used to improve other people's lives. Here at HBA, there are 26 different countries represented, and that's a pretty amazing experience. For example, I'm very interested in languages, and I can talk to Ricardo about Italian, I can talk to Kate about Hungarian, and I get to learn all about the cultures that they come from, the different experiences that they have. By going to HPA, I've been able to apply my passion in a way that would be relevant to school, or not even to school, but just to the community, and doing things that I love, but also having it be worthwhile.
There was no other high school where I could go scuba diving, where I could actually do sea turtle research program, turtle tagging, where I could start an independent project, or where I could actually feel like I made a change.
Honestly, I love it here because I can be weird. I can be myself. I can do what I want to do. I'm wearing a shirt right now. It looks like a composition notebook, but I feel completely comfortable in this environment. People will accept me.
Wonderful. But today we want to hear from our panelists that are here today. So I'll introduce you to Jack O'Donnell. He's our social studies teacher, and he also works with us in admissions and used to live on campus the past 2 years. So he will be directing the session today. So thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Maria. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I just want to go over a quick kind of overview of what the agenda looks like for today. So we have Mr. Ford. Hamilton Ford is our Director of Residential Life. He's going to talk about boarding life here at HPA with an overview of boarding life. And then after that, I have two students, current students on this call, Jack Vandereis. He's a senior from the Bay Area of California. And he's involved in our arts program here with the theater program. And as well, he's taken many AP courses. So he's going to talk about kind of a day in the life of a boarder during the weekday and the weekend. And then we also have our outdoor program director, Lindsay Plakis. She's going to discuss the outdoor program that we have available here at HPA for boarders and day students. And then also on the call is Lily Zink. She's a sophomore from Anchorage, Alaska, and she's going to assist Miss Plakis with the outdoor program and just answer any questions as well. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end of the session. And so, yeah, that's kind of the schedule. So let's start out with Mr. Ford, Hamilton Ford. Could you give us a brief overview of what boarding life is like here at HPA?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to meet all of you. I just want to start by saying that I am actually an alum of the school as well. And I was a boarding student here. So I came up through this program and was pretty excited to come back and be a part of it. And over the last 13 years, grow into the position that I'm in now, getting to help steer the program. It's kind of hard to figure out, I've only got a few minutes to talk about the program. But I think I wanted to highlight specifically ways that we try and foster community. At the end of the day, HPA is a wonderful school with a lot of amazing opportunities. But in my role, it's about making sure that the students that live here through the year feel like they have a home and a community and that they belong. And some ways that we try and help achieve that. So starting off, know that we're usually about in the range of 150 boarding students. It's usually split about 50-50 male and female. This year we're a little more female just coincidentally, but yeah, it's usually about a 50-50 split. We've got and that's kind of broken into like 3 groups, which is like our international students, which comes from about, usually 18-20 countries, and that's about 50% of the boarding population. Then we have boarding students that come from the continental United States, and then like a dozen or so different states, and that's usually about 30% of the boarding population. And then another 20% who come from within the state of Hawaii, either from far parts of this island or Oahu or Maui or whatever. And so with all of that, it creates this really wonderfully eclectic fabric of different backgrounds and traditions and cultures and past educational experiences. The students live in one of 3 dormitories. Each of those dormitories are looked after by a team of 11 residential faculty members and a school nurse for each dorm. And our population of adults, while not maybe not quite as diverse as like the student population, actually does come from a pretty broad range of backgrounds. We've had faculty that are either from themselves or have lived and worked all over the world, including, Germany, Italy, France, England, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Guatemala, Ecuador, Mexico, China, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand. So it goes on quite a bit. Tunisia, all over the US. And I think that allows the faculty to connect with the students on some shared life experiences and some common interests, and especially around the interest of just seeing a lot of the world. But that's like the unintentional side. It's great that we have those things. On the intentional side, we do a lot to try and foster that community. One of the main ones is every weekend there's a dozen or so different on or off campus activities for students to enjoy. And just like whether that's their classes and their sports during the week, on the weekend, we do try and create these opportunities for students to come together over shared interests and like have fun together and make new friends. And that's everything from opening up the gym for, basketball or volleyball or whatever, dodgeball, trips to the movies and shopping malls, going to the beach a couple times in the weekend, hiking trips, camping, snorkeling, stand-up paddleboarding, doing board game nights or barbecues. This weekend, a group of students put on the F1 races that were going on in Japan, and they had a big old watch party together, and all dances, open mic nights. So there's anything that we can think of that like the students would enjoy, and that's on or off campus. And then between that, homework, their athletic commitments, and just also having time to relax. I think our students usually find that they've got more available to them than they could like possibly try and do all of it. We also have events like during the week. It's not like we put all of our focus on just the weekend for our community to come together. Every Monday, we have weekly curriculum meetings, and those can take a couple of different formats, whether that's everyone together in the auditorium, or in like really small groups in their dormitory, or by hall, or by dorm. We talk about different ways of living together, health and wellness, cultural connections, and anything to be more inclusive and build a stronger community. On Tuesdays, we have our the last couple of years, we've been building out a Tuesday night intramural leagues. Right now, we're in the middle of a heated wiffle ball season. A few more weeks to go, and then we'll transition to basketball. On Wednesdays, we drive shuttle buses to and from Waimea, which a couple miles away, just so the students can go out to dinner, do some shopping, whatever. They can also go there on the weekends, but do that on Wednesday nights. There's also almost always one or two like home athletic events every week for students to go and support their classmates and friends in whatever the sports season we're in at the time. And so each week is just full of opportunities. Like, yes, students get up and they've got a full class day and they've got, some kind of activity or co-curricular in the afternoon. But then we keep opportunities for engagement rolling through the whole week. And we have a lot of other structures in place to help students feel connected and keep an eye on their progress and do our best to make sure that they're making the most of their time here. But I do want to say as one final thing, because I know I'm running out of time, that one of our main educational goals is to help our students become more independent and learn how to solve problems on their own. So ideally, when they graduate, they won't need to call their parents for help every time something goes wrong, whether in college or otherwise, because they'll develop the confidence and skills to approach adults with their problems and creatively solve them. And that also goes for creating a sense of engagement and like filling their free time. And that's not to say that we ignore our students when they need help, really quite the opposite. But the help we provide is usually focused on trying to teach them how to fish, so to speak, rather than just giving them fish. So for a student to really get the most out of HPA, they need to show up and try things. As a small school, we always need their participation in our programs, and it serves their own interests as well. So the students that show up and want to get involved and be a part of the community will have a really great experience, and we focus on creating the opportunity for them to do that.
Amazing. Thank you, Hamilton. Appreciate that. So the next topic is we're going to hear from one of our current boarding students at HPA, Jack Vanderijs. And Jack, I would just like you to talk about a typical day in the life of a boarder during the weekday. Everything from academics to co-curriculars and sports, and then maybe your favorite day of the week as a boarder.
Sure. I mean, let's see. So, day in a boarder can start anywhere from 5:30 a.m. till anywhere like 8:10. You run to class and just quickly get ready. If you want to start at 5:30, you can get up early. They open the gym early in the morning for students to go, and they can work out. A bunch of people go in the morning. Just a nice, refreshing way to start the day. Then at 7, breakfast opens. So for about like an hour, I think it's like 7 to 8:15 or something, they can go to breakfast, grab a bite to eat, just sort of grab like a piece of toast or something if they really need something quick. And then then they're off to classes in the morning or to a general assembly, class meeting. It really depends on the day of the week and our schedule, what they'll have in the morning. They can go to their classes, and they can have anywhere from a schedule loaded with APs, but not too bad, to just taking a couple hard classes or maybe some interesting like semester-based classes. Because with what Mr. Ford was saying about really taking opportunities, HPA has a lot of really interesting classes that the more you go into your high school education, the more opportunities open up and broaden, as you can take anything from like a sustainable agriculture class to independent science research, learning to weld, make circuits, and build a robot. So it can really be anything you want, and you can make your day however you want. But really, there's a set general path, but as you expand forward, you can expand into whatever you're interested in. And then after those general classes in the school day, you go off to your co-curriculars or sports. Co-curriculars are generally not as intensive as the sports, but can be totally intensive, being something like CrossFit, or they can do like biotechnology research for an after-school activity. So really, you can make of it what you want. It's a required period, but you can do like JV or varsity sports, or you can do something that you just really like. And then after that block, which either ends at 5 or 5:30, go off to dinner, eat dinner, and then there's like check-in time at 7 in the dorm, where let's need to check in the common room, and then either off to a meeting or a little bit after that off to a mandatory study hall where phones are collected, doors are open, and you're just in a study period for the next, I don't know, hour and a half to 2 hours. Not sure the exact period. I think hour and a half. And then it's essentially really, if you need to get anything done, then lights are off and you're off to bed ready for the next day. So it's a pretty jam-packed day, but you can really make of it what you want.
Amazing. Thank you. Next topic that we have is day in the life for a boarder on the weekend. And Lily, if you want to start us off with what a weekend can look like for a boarder, and Jack, you can add on anything as well.
Okay, so for boarding, there's always a ton of events available that I love to do because they really try to create variety throughout each weekend and have opportunities for different kinds of interests. And normally, there's always a beach van every weekend and a town van. And then they offer things like going to Kona, which is the bigger city, and then outdoor programs like hiking or snorkeling. And for me right now, the co-curricular I'm doing is scuba diving. So I'm getting scuba diving like certified. And that opens up also weekend activities where they do like night manta ray diving and things like that. There's a check-in from 10:30 to 11:30 on the weekends where you can go to breakfast, and they usually on Saturdays have a big like lots of like waffles and good food, and then on Sundays they have like an omelet little station. And then boarders can stay out of their dorms until 10 if they are signed out, and you can go hang out with your friends on Anna's field, which is a field in between the dorms. And there's usually like right now there's football games going on during the weekend and lots of activities like that. And you can also sign out with your day student friends. So if you are friends with any day students, you can create a pass and go with them with their families and get to kind of see how their families interact and learn like more about the island with them.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Lily. Anything else, Jack, you want to add on? Okay, excellent. So the next thing we will go over, our next topic is the outdoor program here at HPA. So we have our outdoor program director, Lindsay Palakis, and she'll give a brief overview of what the outdoor program looks like here at our school. I think you
Lindsay,
need
try to unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning from Hawaii, or good afternoon, wherever you are located in the world. My name is Lindsay Palakis, and I run the outdoor program here at HPA. The outdoor program is a opportunity for students to explore all of the unique, rich ecosystems that are located on this island. So many people are drawn to come to HPA because we are located in the beautiful state of Hawaii, and there is so much abundance of nature all around us. So the outdoor program is the way that students get to explore the island. So every weekend, I take a group of boarding students on different day adventures. So some of our locations of things we do is we'll go hiking into Pololu Valley and check out the breathtaking views that are there, hike through the jungle and the lush rainforests. We'll do coastal hikes to secret beaches that are hard to access by car. We also do a lot of snorkeling trips in the ocean. We'll go down to Hawaii Volcano National Park and do lava viewing and hikes in the national park. And on the day trips, I really try to make them appeal to all different types of students. So every weekend, we're doing a different activity. I think last year I counted, we did 42 day trips around the island. And if you're familiar with the Big Island, it is very, very large. There are, I think, 13 different ecosystems that are here on the island. So where we're located in Waimea is very, very different than other areas in the island. So I've lived here in Hawaii for 12 years now and have gotten to know all the different areas on the island. So it's my passion to take students everywhere around the island. And then additionally, we also do longer backpacking and camping trips. We've done 2 already this past year. One was a backpacking trip into Waimanu Valley, and that was a 3-day, 2-night trip where we took 10 very brave students. We hiked 20 miles, 7 hours each day into a very remote and just amazing valley with beautiful beaches and swam in waterfalls. And then this past weekend, I'm just back yesterday from doing an overnight camping trip to a local beach. And so we went on Friday afternoon, and we brought down all of our snorkels and stand-up paddle boards and went and set up camp right on the beach, camped under coconut trees and grilled food on the or barbecued on the grills, and had just a lovely weekend of beach camping. So I'm fresh back from that amazing experience. And with that, we brought 10 different students. So I really try with the outdoor program to appeal to all different interests and abilities for getting to experience this beautiful island we live on. So some of the activities are awesome for kids that just want to get out and maybe go take a scenic trip around the island and get some amazing pictures, but aren't really up for challenge. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have these 20-mile, big backpacking trips where you're carrying everything you need for the weekend and hiking to really remote places. So that's kind of an overview of most of the trips. I also do collaborate with tour companies and third parties to do some bigger trips sprinkled out throughout the year. And those might include, we'll do, as I think Lily mentioned, night diving with the manta rays. We'll do when the whales get here during January to March, we'll rent out a boat and go out and go whale watching on a boat. We also offer about 2 times a year learn to surf, surfing lessons down in the Kona area, and then just a variety of different tour opportunities like that. And so with the outdoor program, all of these trips come at no cost to the families other than our tour trips. The tour trips, then I work with the companies to get a really great discount for our school, and those come with a little bit of a charge. But our backpacking trips, our camping trips, our day trips, those 40 trips that I mentioned, and then our 8 overnight trips, those are included and cost-free to the families. One other trip that I just remembered that we did last year that was amazing, actually 2 that I want to highlight. One was that we take our HPA horses up to Mauna Kea, the big mountain, and we camp out up on the mountain, and during the day go on trail rides with the HPA horses. And then the final day, the students ride the horses down the mountain back to kind of the trailer where they return back to the school. And then the other amazing opportunity that we've done is we've gone down to the southern coast of the island and done a large marine debris cleanup where we camp out for 2 days and then partner with different organizations to do a service learning trips as well. So that kind of is the outdoor program in a nutshell. It's one of the most popular, I personally think, weekend activities because so many families come to the Big Island and want to see it and explore it and experience everything that this amazing island has to offer. And the outdoor program is the way to do that.
Amazing. Thank you, Lindsay. So next thing is Lily, if you want to share some of your personal experiences, because I know you talked about getting scuba certified, and I know that you've been on a couple outdoor trips. If you want to add anything, that'd be great.
I have been on 3 overnight camping trips here at HPA. I think I disconnected for a minute. Sorry, guys. But I've been on 3 trips, 2 big backpacking trips, and then 1 beach camping trip. And then I've done lots of day activities. And the day activities with the outdoor program is great because it's fun to sign up with friends, but you also meet so many new people where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I like live on campus with them. And it creates these amazing friendships where after the trip you're just like talking about how much fun you had like snorkeling or hiking, and then you all go and hang out in the dorms and can become like lifelong friends. I think like the outdoor program really offers like a really unique opportunity for the boarders to like immerse themselves in like nature here on the Big Island. And I feel like a lot of schools don't give that chance to boarders because you're kind of stuck on campus. So you really get to like connect with the island on a deeper level. And then I feel like it also gives a opportunity for students to connect with their teachers, and because teachers can come on these trips, so you learn and connect with your teachers on a deeper level. And it creates like a very, all of the trips have a very like good group dynamic where you all work together and you can learn like basic camping skills that you can use like outside of HPA with your friends in the future or with your family.
Perfect. Thank you, Lily. Okay. Next topic we have is kind of like day and boarding mix. And so I'll go back to Jack. And I know, Jack, you've been at HPA for 3 years now. You're a senior, and I know you have tons of boarding and day student friends. Do you want to describe, I know Mr. Ford talked about how we really have like 50-50 in terms of we're like 50% boarding, 50% day in a typical year. Do you want to talk about what it's like to be a boarder and also interact with day students?
Sure, yeah. I mean, during a day, really in the like super early morning period and like the super late at night, you're really not going to be seeing day students, but anywhere from like that first class till the end of your sports, you're going to be seeing just as many day students as boarders, and you'll make friends with them, especially in your sports. I've made most of my like day student friends through either like my after school activity or through classes, and you really do get like close to them. And like I was signed out literally last weekend to just hang out with some friends, and it's really just they we really, after some time, we like really get to know each other and we mesh. I mean, at the start, yeah, sure, we might be hanging out with boarders a little bit more, But as the year goes on, you'll meet so many people from who go to the school just in the normal day, and you'll become really close friends with them, and it balances really well. So, I mean, if you take the opportunities for classes and for your sports, you'll be able to meet so many people.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. Okay. Moving along, we have one more topic and then we'll open it up for a Q&A for to ask some questions to anyone on this chat. So the next topic, I'll actually start with Mr. Ford wants to share a little bit about our residential life support. So what we have different dorm parents, prefects, dorm heads throughout residential life. I know you kind of hinted at some of the school nurses, but if Mr. Ford, if you want to go over a little bit like what it's like for our residential life students in terms of their support team.
Yeah, absolutely. In residential life, right, when we just look at the math, there's, roughly 150 students. And while we do have, somewhere around like 36 residential faculty, they're not all on at the same time, right? They take turns. And so you'll end up having one adult on duty in a dorm full of 50 students. And so our support systems for students are a bit scaffolded, and they're there to help students that need it. First, I think it's important to say that a little bit of failure is a healthy and good thing. We want our students pushing themselves and challenging themselves and trying new things. And sometimes to do that in a healthy way, that means you're going to find out that you're bad at something, or that wasn't the thing that you ended up, or you didn't end up liking that thing that you tried. And that's all very normal and natural and healthy. And so these supports are there for when those challenges maybe become more than just that normal, healthy, natural range. If we look at like the very base level, we have, so we've got 150 students, and usually about 20 or so students that are designated prefects. They're student leaders. You guys might be most familiar with the term prefect from the Harry Potter books, unfortunately, but they are hired student leaders that go through 4 days of training on everything from peer mediation to confidentiality and how to otherwise like support the other students. And they're a really great like first step, because a student is usually more comfortable talking about the thing that's upsetting them with another student more than they might be willing to come directly to me. And then after that level, we do have the dorm faculty who, there's 11 of them, and they are around fairly often. They'll see the students at least once a week, and that's another trusted source that a student can go to if they're having a challenge and need somebody to talk to. We have a nurse that is assigned to each dormitory, so the same. Obviously they have fluctuations in their schedule, but effectively the same nurse will be in the dorm each night to give out nightly meds and check on boo-boos and take people's temperatures and otherwise care for that group of kids, and they get to know them pretty well. And they can refer to our counseling services. We have 2 counselors. They aren't specifically assigned to a dorm, but they do both work in res life. And so if a student is having a particularly hard time with something that's not so much medical as it is mental or social emotional, they do have access to those resources. And then as we come up the chain, each dorm has a dorm head who supervises this group of 11 faculty and a nurse, and can provide administrative support. And then my role is to be a support and team leader for those dorm heads. And then we also have our learning center, which is generally available for consultation if students are struggling in an academic realm, as well as our peer counseling or our peer tutoring program, where students can sign up to get tutored in a class by one of their peers that get service hours for teaching algebra 2 or whatever it might be. And so all of these work together to try and create a somewhat like comprehensive net so that we catch students before they fall too far. Like I said at the beginning, a little bit of failure, a little bit of slipping, like that's a good thing. That tells us that students are trying and they're pushing themselves. But we have this safety net there so that they don't fall too far. And then we've got supports there to help bring them back up when they slip. And that's really philosophically how we approach it.
Perfect. Thank you. So the next part of this webinar can be questions. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and you can turn off mute and you can ask myself, Maria, or anyone here at HPA on this call. So I will open up the next like 10, 15 minutes to questions.
I had a quick question. So how many people is it per dorm rooms?
The vast majority of our dorm rooms are double occupancy, so almost everyone's got a roommate. The prefects earn like part of the benefit of the work that they do for us is they have the first opportunity to request like their own room if they're available. It depends a little bit on enrollment, but I can also tell you a number of students end up becoming good friends with folks that they lived with earlier in their career. And I would say, I don't know, probably about a quarter of our prefects actually opt to just keep having their roommate because they like the company and sharing that experience. But yeah, either doubles or singles. We don't have any triples or quads or anything like that.
I'd love to ask Lily and Jack a question. Thank you so much for doing this so early in the morning. I would love to, I know, Jack, you're a senior, and Lily, I think you're a sophomore, is that right? I'd love to just find out like how you, like, do you ever feel stressed with the workload and how you deal with that? Or how do you budget your time? Just how do you deal with sort of just the workload in general, and also trying to have a good social life and be involved in sports?
And I can try starting off answering that. Well, I mean, first off, not even in the school year, when you're just signing up for classes, you work with both your advisor and the registrar to make initially a schedule that still challenges you, but won't like absolutely destroy you. But through the entire year, you have the support of like the peer tutoring program. There's faculty who are also usually teachers in the dorms. You have other people in the dorms who can help you out. You have your advisor, and the teachers make themselves available at any time through the day that they're really not like teaching their classes. So before classes in the morning, there's like a 30-minute office hour period that you can go talk to them. Like even after classes, between classes, teachers make themselves super available for help, and it really never gets to a point where it becomes extremely stressful. I mean, if you can make your schedule and stress of it what you will, but usually you don't like stress too much. I mean, I don't know if I.
Yeah, I just like to say the way that HPA makes their schedule is they make it so you have time like to yourself just to study and focus. Like study hall from 7:45 to 9:25 is that time where you know the dorm is going to be quiet and you can just solely focus on your work, and that allows you to not be stressed throughout the day because you're like, I know I have that time where I can just sit in my room and get it done. And then also students have like off blocks where other people might have a class you won't. So my like off block is G, so I have 2 classes one day and then 4 classes another day. And my day where I have 2 classes, I can use that free period to get my work done and the dorm is quiet and I'm alone. But then when school ends or when my friends are all here or my roommate's here, I feel like I can have that time to just like hang out with them and not feel stressed because there's that preset time where I can focus.
Great, thank you so much.
I have a quick question. Is the study period from 7:45 to 9:40, whatever, the 2 hours, is that every day or every night you have that study hall?
That is every weekday, yeah.
Thank you.
Monday through Thursday, 7:45 to 9:45 roughly. Also to add on to your last question, Pauline, as a teacher, we obviously talk amongst each other. We have advisories, so I have a group of 9 to 10 kids who I help them with their process of selecting courses. And what we typically do to manage stress is that we have 2 guidance counselors at the school, and they've stressed over the years that, look, kids' mental health, goes through a lot if they're taking 4 AP courses. So you have to go through a process. If a kid really wants to take that many AP courses, you have to have a waiver signed. And so it's typically you'll see students who are taking 2 to 3 AP courses, are typically challenging themselves more, but it's very rare to see a kid take more than 3 because we encourage kids to have that balance.
That's great. Thank you so much.
I have another question. What happens during the long breaks? Do you go back home? Do you go back to your family, or do you stay in your dorms?
Yeah, I can answer this one. So the 2 main, well, I guess there's 3 main breaks: summer, obviously, and then winter break and spring break. And the dormitories do close during those breaks. We have our winter break is 3 weeks long. Actually, I guess 3 weeks and 2 days for the students. And then spring break is it's about 2.5 weeks actually. So it's a pretty big chunk of time, and that's to allow students that live pretty far away to make it worth it to travel all that distance. We do during Thanksgiving break, which is 5 days. We'll have some students that choose to stay on campus. Miss Paulikas will lead a camping trip to Hawai'i during Thanksgiving break. And we also typically have during spring break student travel trips program. This year there's a diving and reef ecology trip going to Fiji during the spring break. And there's also I guess you would call it a cultural explorations trip going to New Zealand and Australia. Last year we had students go to Japan and France and Spain was the other trip in spring break last year. So we do have some programs for students that don't want to, or maybe can't go home for that time. But the dorms do close for those 2 breaks.
Okay, any other questions for our HPA students or faculty and staff? I'll have Maria kind of go over how you can stay in touch with our admissions team and kind of wrap things up. But thank you everyone so much for joining us on this Zoom call, and stay in touch.
Thank you so much, everyone. So just connect with us if you want to meet with us in the road. So we'll be traveling very soon, starting in San Francisco and Seattle. So if you're from those areas, make sure to reach out to us. And I'll also be traveling around Europe. So reach out to us for more information. And I'll be following up as well with an email. So in case you have any questions, just let us know. And our admission season is about to start as well. So if you want to apply for early decision, you can start your application now. So thank you so much, everyone. And
sorry, I have one question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If we wanted to visit the campus, what is the best time to visit? And can we visit the campus with the child and get a tour and all of that?
Of course, yes, you can visit anytime. So just reach out to us and we'll send you the link to register for a tour.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What do you do if you have a sport, but it's not it's not available in the school, like how do you practice that sport? Do you stop playing the sport or?
Or do you want to answer that, Hamilton?
Well, I guess I was just gonna say it kind of depends on the sport. We've had you know, we are ultimately on an island and our resources can be limited in that regard. But we've also, I mean, we had a student that their thing was fencing and they ended up, I think, actually going to like Stanford on a fencing scholarship. We don't have a fencing program, and we don't even have anyone that knows how to teach it. But the student basically put together an independent sport proposal on how he was going to train for himself. And then his parents like took him to Oahu for like competition. So that one worked out. I can't say that it always works out that way. So it really depends on the sport and the circumstances. But we will work with students that have like an individual interest and support it where we can. And sometimes it just doesn't, you know, if ice hockey is your thing, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work on this island. Like, but that's, yeah, we'll do our best.
Good. Thank you so much, everyone. So just email us if you have more questions and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you, everyone. Mahalo.